right, Leia. You ready, big girl? Yeah. All right, so this whole video, I just want to talk about addressing reactivity, specifically like barking at other dogs, barking at other people, barking at little kids sometimes. She has improved drastically on this, but I just want to talk about specifically how we're going to utilize the e-collar, how we're going to utilize the leash to help deter her from those reactive moments. So firstly, if we're going to take her out somewhere and say like sit at a park or sit at a patio and just kind of remain stationary with her, this is what we'll do. Let me go grab a couple things. All right, so managing reactivity out in public. If you're going to be stationary for a minute, the place command is going to be your best friend. I like to bring a towel or a rug just to give her something to lay on. It's helpful not only just to kind of reiterate that the place command means stay on this object, but it's also just comfier so she doesn't have to lay all the way on the floor. But I will use my leash, use my e-collar to get her all the way to this spot. If she ever gets up before I've asked her to, I'm going to do the exact same thing, turn my e-collar and leash back on and get her to lay back down. But as long as she remains here, good. We can continue to mark and pay. And I'm just going to put a little piece of food right in between her paws. I don't really want her jumping off of the bed to try and meet me anywhere. She's just going to stay right there. Good. And then I'm going to wait for a potential distraction. So if I did this out in public, chances are high another person will walk close by. There might even be someone that will kind of ogle her a little bit and be like, oh my goodness, she's so cute. And in those moments, as long as she stays on the bed or in the position you've got her in, good. We can continue to mark and reward. So having food, especially for these first couple of outings that you try with her, is going to be beneficial. But I would also recommend highly going out with the e-collar on. This is one of those things where you shouldn't feel like you're constantly having to use it all the time, but in those moments when a reactive moment presents itself, it's better to have the tool on than wish that you had it, in the past. So say, for example, we're out and there's a dog that starts to walk by. She's allowed to look at the dog. I just don't want her to get out of this position. So as long as she's laying down, all this pressure stays off, my leash stays nice and loose, especially if she looks at a dog and then looks back at you. Good. That's the perfect time to mark and reward. We're essentially just saying, regardless of what's happening in the environment, I don't want you going anywhere. I just want you to stay right here. Now, say a dog walks by close enough that she just goes running off the bed, and I'm starting to tap on my e-collar to guide her back, but she is not responding. She's still kind of engaging in the other dog. That's where I will take my dial at the top of this and just start to scroll up slightly. I'm waiting for her to disengage from the dog, return to the task at hand, right now its place. And don't be surprised, right now we're at like a 14 and there's really not much going on. If there's another dog in the picture, or say a squirrel went running by, this value might be closer to like 25 or 30. We're always matching the intensity of what's in the environment, especially the intensity of what she's giving you. So if she's really excited to see that dog, a really low level on the e-collar that we're using around no distractions is very not likely to work. So all that to say, don't be afraid to adjust the values until you're getting this kind of response. This is what it should feel like. I tap once to get you into position. I can even set this down now. I'm a little bit more assured that you're going to stay there. If this feels like an argument, like you're constantly having to remind her to lay down, she's not super attentive, take your level, rise it up slightly. Chances are high the environment you're in is just a little bit too stimulating. Now, how to manage reactivity when you're out on a walk. Let's talk about that next. Free. All right, heel. So reactivity while walking. The easiest way I like to think about this is we're just going to use the heel command. Right now, that heel command means walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop. There's a lot of rules to it. We just always want her on this left-hand side following our pace. And now we can just start to add in the additional rule that while you're in heel, I don't want you reacting at other dogs. And if you do, I'll hold you accountable in the same way that I hold her accountable to heel. So here's what I mean by that. Say, as we're walking, for any reason, if she lags too far behind, I'm going to tap and guide her forward. If she gets too far ahead of me and is starting to lead the walk, I'm just going to turn, walk the other direction. If she turns with me, beautiful. I don't need to really do anything with my equipment, but if she doesn't, say she's still over there, I'm going to use my leash in the same way that I was trying to speed her up. Essentially, she's never leading. I always kind of want her in that little back pocket. Now, say for example, there's another dog coming right at us and she's starting to get out of position. She's maybe even starting to bark a little bit.
I would do the same thing where I'm just going to turn, walk in the opposite direction. If she follows me like she did right there, where the leash didn't even go tight, she's following right along with me, there's no need to use the e-collar. I might even take that opportunity to reward. She's choosing to disengage from the dog instead of bark and go crazy, so I want to reward that action. But say that she doesn't. Say that she gets out of position, I turn, and she's still kind of locked onto the other dog, my leash is tight. That's the perfect time to be tapping, using your e-collar, guiding her back into that heel position just like you normally would. But don't be surprised if the levels that you usually use just to keep her in heel now no longer work, because there's an exciting dog in the picture. So in that moment, again, same thing we talked about while seated, raise your level a little bit. I'm looking for just for her to respond like this. It shouldn't feel like super argumentative or like you're having to tap on the e-collar an excessive amount of times. It should feel more or less like a one and done. I tap once, you get back into position, and we're good to go. Okay? Good girl.